Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV here on Cape Town TV. It's 9 o'clock Wednesday, we're live. We are one of the biggest rugby shows in South Africa. Never mind the fact that we broadcast only in Cape Town. And of course we'll have to remind you of the fact that the big brands who don't spend money in the right places are still not spending money in the right places. We just keep loving reminding you of that. But okay, tonight, very exciting show. We've got some esteemed guests on the panel, so it's really going to be a cracker this evening, and we've got some fantastic prizes up for grabs. We'll take a look at the kiddies show, and of course the guys from Tata, Oosterberg and Paul have really come to the party with the kiddies function. Protocol demands this evening that I first have to recognize the right person. Many organizations out there still quite don't understand how protocol works. So when it comes to protocol, the first thing that I need to do when I come into Western Province is I've got to first go to the head of the union, which is what I'm going to do, and that is the president of the Western Province Rugby Football Union, Mr. Tobie Titus. Hello, Mr. Titus.
Good evening, JP.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks a lot for the invitation.
I think everybody's been wanting to see you on TV the whole season. They say, when is Mr. Titus coming on the show?
Thank you.
And of course, Mr. H, the Deputy CEO. Meneer,
I'll be very quiet tonight. My boss is next to me, so I'll be very quiet tonight.
And I see the man right at the end there, executive from UWC, Meredith. How are you?
Very well, thank you, JP. Thanks for the invitation.
Folks, stay close to your cell phones. There are lots of prizes up for grab this evening. And don't forget, you can find us on Facebook right now. www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. You can ask us any questions that you need to know. There you have it right there. www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. It's always difficult to do that. The toys are streaming in. We've got some more toys. I'm not going to over-elaborate on the toys this evening because I know that Mr. H will want to play with the toys all the time. Right, before we go to the toys, of course, the big issue on the cards this week, and we've heard the story of Newlands moving to the Cape Town Stadium and Western Province moving to the Cape Town Stadium. And a few days ago we heard that there were a Heineken Cup match between Saracens and Biarritz was possibly going to be played in Cape Town. Some processes had to go through that. And we've heard a lot about that on the radio, and we've heard a lot about that in the newspaper. And a lot of that has been speculation. We thought tonight we'd just put that to bed. Of course, we are the show that talks more about Western Province Rugby than anything else. So where else to do it, and with who better to talk to about it than the president of the Western Province Rugby Football Union himself, Mr. Tobie Titus. Let's put this Cape Town Stadium story to bed now. And I don't think we have to elaborate or make it long conversations. There's a discussion on, has been now for 2, 3, 4 years, as long as the stadium has been in the building process. Simple question. Are we moving to the Cape Town Stadium?
JP, a lot of water must still run into the sea. In my response to you is that we're busy with discussions.
Right.
But there's a lot of discussion that must still take place. And ultimately, money rules the world. I know there's a lot of sentiment, emotion. But finally, we will go with the model of Western Province and the model of what the Cape Town City Council will propose.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't move from Western Province unless all aspects were
yeah,
right.
and on one condition, there are actually two conditions: the rezoning of the stadium,
right,
if we must go, and if it's financially beneficial to us. But we can only do the negotiations. But ultimately, the stadium belongs to the 90 clubs in Western Province. And
right,
we cannot take that decision. Ultimately, we can only go with proposals. If the stakeholders reject it or accept it, that is in their hands. We cannot decide on behalf of the 90 shareholders.
And of course, you've got 500 corporates at Newlands who have got contracts at Newlands who share suites there. And you can't just move to... I mean, I remember New Zealand at one stage lost all their suite holders because they had a test match there and said, sorry guys, for this test match we need to move out. I think they wanted to have a cricket test match or something like that. We need you out. And the shareholders all turned their back on the union and said, if you treat us like that, we won't be coming back. So this must be a priority for you to look after your suite holders and shareholders at Newlands.
Yeah, you see, we've got contractual obligations towards especially our suite holders.
Yes.
And when they entered into a contract with us in terms of acquiring suites, they acted in good faith like the union. We can't go now midstream and say we're moving to the stadium. They can take us to court. Because if they had known that, they wouldn't have hired suites.
Yes, yes.
The same with our season ticket holders, the same with our sponsors. So
Right.
we've got a responsibility towards a lot of people, and also to our loyal base. I think Western Province is a union with the most staunchest supporters as far as a loyal base. Win or lose, there's always a core of supporters
And
that stand behind us.
Newlands is, of course, part of that
Of that
sort of
tradition and
attraction
culture.
and tradition and culture. Yes, yes. And I did hear somebody on the radio yesterday ask the question, if you do move to the Cape Town Stadium, then where on earth are they going to braai? Because, because that's one of the most important things. But from a braai point of view, I must say, in that parking lot at Newlands, I've seen enough skottelbraais parking across the double parking space to say clearly that finding a place to braai is not a problem for rugby fans in Cape Town. Okay, so to put that to bed then, there are discussions and they're ongoing. There's no commitment there. On the Saracens Heineken game, which was also, again, a big issue now, Saru, I mean, as we were talking about protocol earlier on, Saru says, yes, you can come and play in Cape Town, but you need to go to Western Province and check with them first. Is that correct?
I'm so glad you're raising the point, because I just want to put the whole position in perspective and context. Because what's happening now that the people actually, some individuals want to depict Western Province as a villain, and using the IRB and SAU. In my position, I've got a letter from the IRB. All that the IRB is saying, they will allow this game to take place in South Africa, but it's not a precedent. It's only a one-off thing.
Yes.
That's what they said. So they actually gave permission with a qualification. What SAU said, as you have said, they will give permission, or the approving of this game, subject to the host union, in terms of a resolution of SAU also agreeing to the game.
But is that not standard for all rugby in Cape Town? I mean, if you want to play a rugby game in Cape Town, before you play a rugby game, no matter what rugby game you are, you come to the union first and say, I'd like to play a rugby game.
In a way, I agree with you, but there's a difference, you see. When it's in a South African context, I don't think any union in South Africa will go and play in another union's demarcated area.
Yes.
It comes when total outsiders come and they want to play in a specific province. As far as tests are concerned, SAU decides where the test will be played for a year.
Right, okay.
But SAU is also saying that if you want to shift the test from Newlands to somewhere else, you still must have permission from SAU to shift that test.
Right, well, I think we have a definitive answer then, in terms of if you're out there and you want to host a rugby game, one of the protocols demand that you first speak to the Western Province Rugby Football Union, and from there take your steps. So, quite frankly, I think these announcements were a little bit premature, knowing that the official meeting on the decision was only going to happen on Monday. Anyway, that's how the things roll out. That's what makes rugby so exciting. And that is what the fans are all about, is looking for rugby and looking for good rugby. Just before I leave that issue, Mr. H, let me ask you, the Cape Town Stadium has got 5,000 more seats than Newlands. From a rugby perspective, do you think that would have made a big difference? I mean, people were saying, why not go to the Athlone Stadium? But, I mean, 5,000 seats at the Cape Town Stadium or 50,000 seats at Newlands, is that a big difference?
Ask yourself the question, if the Stormers, who's the home team, struggles to get a full capacity crowd, you know,
would Heineken, Biarritz, I mean, I don't really know a lot of players in those two teams, but...
I don't really think that. But yeah, you know, it's holiday time, it's a different... but 5,000 difference, I don't think it would make
5,000 difference. I mean, it's not really a selling point, is it?
And,
Yeah, and of course Newlands has got a great track record for having some of the world's highest capacity and attendance for rugby.
yeah, no.
Right, there we go, folks. Hopefully that has settled that matter. Discussions are underway from time to time between Western Province and the City Council. It seems that there is a good relationship between Western Province and the city. So let's hope that nothing is taken further out of context and the media out there will deal with things appropriately and accurately. It's time for us to take an ad break. And of course, don't forget, some great prizes coming up during the course of the show. We are on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. If you'd like to throw out a couple of questions, we'll be happy to try and field them for you. We've got a nice panel here this evening. Prizes coming up. We'll take a look at those toys. And we are going to definitely take a look to see which clubs have come to the party for the HBC Kiddies event. We'll be back with you guys in a moment.